Mrs. Bridget Stokes at 55 Green Street, Newton. So, when was your first job when you came here?
Well, second maid.
The second maid?
Oh, yeah, second maid.
And what were your duties?
Make the beds,
Yeah.
wait on table. And there were 3 young children there, and their mother could go any place they wanted. I was able to take care of them, and if they needed anything, money or anything, she used to go away an awful lot. She had another house down at the beach that she was fixing up down there, and she'd go away. So I spent almost 5 years with those people.
What were their names?
Damon, J.M. Damon.
And where did they live?
On the 98 Washington Street. Right up on Washington, on the Brighton, Square.
Did your sisters work there too?
Yeah.
Did you? They did?
I lived there. I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Did your sisters work there?
No, I had a sister. I had a sister married in Somerville and a sister married in Boston, and 2 sisters. One was living up in Newton Highlands doing housework like I was, and my other sister was a cook in Boston.
Mm.
So I had plenty of guardians throughout me when I was growing up.
Hmm. So, what made you go back to Ireland?
I got homesick.
You did?
Yeah. And I had a a boyfriend here who was very interested in me. I'm not going to mention any names. But I didn't like him as well as I did the boyfriend I left at home, see?
Uh-huh.
These are my own thoughts, my own, just an outline of. You would feel the same yourself if you didn't want too much attention from somebody that was giving you more than you wanted because you didn't appreciate it. It wasn't what you wanted. My first love was over there. So, and when I was leaving I went to Ireland in 1911. I went back I came in 1906, went back in 1911. And I told my sisters I was homesick. I was young, and I left a lot of nice memories behind me when I came. And I was teaching, I told you, over in Ireland, you know. But there's no money in it. The idea was they'd appointed you as monitress, and then you had 4 hours, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon for studies of your own, little like going into high school, little more English and all that kind of stuff. I was a good student, I guess. But when you're smart, they put your name in to be appointed monitress, see, and the schools were under England, and and we had exams because English teachers that used to come to our convent school because they were supported by the English government, and that was before Home Rule. But I don't know much about history as far as I know the outline.
But tell me, when did you come back to the United States with your husband?
I stayed home 15 months. I got over there the last day of June. I left here the 20th, and I got home the 28th by boat at that time. It used to take 8 days, you know. And I was only home about 6 weeks when my sister, older than I was, died in her second baby. And I was going to come back in September. I had promised the people I'd be back in September. But I got all upset, and I figured I'd stay home for the winter, which I did. And the first time I went out after my sister died was St. Patrick's Day that winter.
What did you do then?
Ball up at that my husband had tickets for, and I went to that. Then he talked about getting married, and I said, "You want me to get married over there?" And I said, "No, I like America better." I had to choose.
Why did you like America better?
Because you live in Ireland forever and you'd never be anything. You'd be the same old, and I had learned so many nice things about it and everything else, but I'd rather settle down in America than I would over there. It didn't please me. But I love it. You know how it is, but I didn't make it.
It's always home.
Yeah, it was home. So I stayed home all the next summer. But he was finished his apprenticeship with his 5 years. In fact, I found the paper the other day that he got, what do you call it? Oh, an account
Certificate?
stewardship.
Like a certificate?
Yes, certificate. That's the word I was trying to get at. And he graduated from, after putting in 5 years. They didn't get paid at all.
What was his occupation?
Machinist.
A machinist.
Machinists were coming. The automobiles, if you saw one over an island, then everybody would be out looking at it. Didn't see them. So his father was an engineer and was in the family to be mechanical. Where all my family was farmers. They were on the farmer's side, so I think the mixture was good anyway. But he had served his time. He was just out of his time.
How long was he an apprentice? How long was he?
5 years.
5 years?
5 years. He worked in automobiles from the ground up, you know. Greaseman, they used to call it. And his father being an engineer, and he was a good mechanic, very good mechanic. My husband was too. That's what he always did. He was a machinist. And we decided, he wanted me to get married over there. I said, no, I wouldn't settle down my own life. I said, I couldn't do it. So he decided he'd come along with me. So we planned a date over there, so I pleased them all by getting married over there. Not that I pleased them. His parents were mad. They figured we were too young. Well, I was a year older than he was. And they figured we didn't know what we were doing. We were just crazy kids, that's all. So they did a lot of things to try to stop us.
When was your husband's birthday? What was your husband's birthday?
July the 21st.
1889?
1889. And when he was dying here, when I took care of him, Father, one of the priests over here, Father Gallagher, came in, and he was talking to him upstairs, and he said, how old are you, Pat? He said, he was 70. He said, no, he didn't tell me. He said, she's 5 years older than I am. I said, dear God, did you ever tell the truth in your life? Told Father Gallagher. I said, I was born in 88, you were born. I'm sorry, Father, I'm sorry. But Father Gallagher laughed so much that day because he said, how old are you, Pat? And he said, she's 5 years older than I am. And I said, oh, God. I'm glad I was there to check on him.
Really?
He was a little bit dreamy, you know.
So when did you arrive here?
We left the 23rd of October. We arrived in New York. There wasn't a boat coming to Boston, so we came to New York. And I had the pleasure of coming up from New York on the Fall River boat to Fall River. Then you get a train into Boston. And we got here the 1st of November.
Which year?
1912. 1912. And we got here around the 1st of November. It was that's a holiday in the church. All Saints' Day, they call it, I think, the 1st of November.
Right.
So we got here, and we got out off the train at the South Station, and we were coming to Newton. We're down here to Watertown Street to a cousin of mine who lived right on the border, and she knew I was coming back. And I wrote and told her, see, and I said, I'm coming back married, see.
Oh, yeah.
So we were coming up from the South Station, and I said, let's go into 5 and 10, we might get a few things in there. And we went in 5, and we were just going in, and my husband met this woman, and he spoke to her. I almost died. I said, my God, you just got off the boat. And that woman lived in Newton, and she had a sister that was over in Ireland that went back and forth quite often, and he had met her, the sister. And he had met this woman over there too.
Amazing.
Wasn't that strange? And she had come to, and she was living down on Pearl Street. Well, I couldn't go straight no matter where I go. There'd be somebody that would come up and find me. But wasn't that a strange thing?
Really?
This woman was home on a visit, and he met her through her sister that was home, that was going around and did marry a fellow that my husband worked in the garage with him, see.
Isn't, what a small world.
Such a small, imagine him, we get a, I couldn't believe it. So he said, this is Mrs. Delaney. He said, she's Madge Horgan's sister. And I met her when she was over in Ireland. And she told me she came from Newton. She was living down on Pearl Street here. So she said, I live at the corner school in Pearl Street. Come in. She had, one sister lived upstairs, and she lived in the downstairs apartment. And they were bringing up their families there. And then isn't it a small world when you come to think of it? I said people should be very, very careful not to do anything wrong, because you never know when it's going to come up and somebody's going to...
So, did you live with your cousin then? When you
I
first
stayed
arrived?
with her for, we stayed about 4 or 5 weeks. And he got a job, and we got a little apartment down on Cook Street, 2 streets down from here. You pass by Cook when you're coming up. And I lived on Cook Street for 3 years, and I lived down on Watertown Street for 3 years. We had 2 babies while I was on Cook Street. And my husband's birthday is the 21st of July. And I said to him, we were married in October. My first baby came the 20th of July. He was 8 weeks premature. 3 pounds 4 ounces.
Did you have him at home? Was he
had
born
him
at home?
I had Dr. Gallagher, one of the best doctors that ever was in the world. We call him the divine healer. And he was like a father to me. And when I had that baby and had it ahead of time, I was due for September, and he came in July. But I went to a wedding the 8th of July, and I danced at the wedding. And the baby was born 2 weeks after, see. So he said, if you hadn't been dancing the Irish washerwoman this way. So that's a story in itself. And the baby was up in the Newton Hospital 6 months. He weighed 3 pounds 4 ounces. He was here this morning, believe it or not. And he's...
Kevin?
No, my oldest son, John. I talked to Kevin on the phone today, and I talked to my daughter, and John came. He lives in Woburn, and he lost his wife didn't have any children. And the other day he was doing something in the yard, trying to break something, and he was doing it without having something. I don't know just what it was now, but my daughter told me last week about it. And he came over today because, and he pulled it. When he did, he fell back and he hit his elbow on a wall or something. And it broke the skin, and he had to go to the doctor. And then a little infection set in. So he's taking antibiotics now. My head is just, sometimes I long for a sleep. When you'll have no more things to bother you. But thank God I'm able to take it, that I have a good memory. And but talking about birthdays now, his was July the 20th, and my husband was born the 26th, 21st. So I said the first year I was married, I presented my husband with a son. And the second year, my daughter was born a year exactly after that, the same birthday. Only one was Sunday and one was Monday.
Isn't that fun?
And so the second birthday, his birthday, the second time, I presented him with a son.
The 3 of them were on July 21st?
My husband is the 21st, and the 2 children are the 20th.
Oh.
Yeah. And when my John he was in the hospital 6 months, they took him right away. They just left him in the house 24 hours. They took him up the hospital. And He wasn't in an incubator, but he lived. And he was up there 6 months. And I didn't baptize him until we brought him home. So when we brought him home in January, he was 6 months old. And I wanted him baptized, taken to the church and baptized, so they baptized him over there. And then 6 months later, I had another baby. So when my daughter was getting married years later, Father Norton said, he's married, there must be some mistake, he said. He said, John was born. He said, your mother had 2 babies christened, and she said, that's right. Because they all know the history of it now, you know. But isn't it a funny thing? And I kept track of all those things.
When did you move into this house?
The 8th of June, 1918. See, another 8. The 8th of June, 1918. So I'd be here 63 years, I think.
Where did your children go to school?
Our Lady.
What was the name of that again?
Our Lady, Help of Christians Church.
Yeah.
It's a Catholic school. In fact, it's a good one. It's a very fine school. But there's, they all graduated from high school over here. And my daughter got a scholarship to Regis from here.
So tell me a little bit about Nonantum during the 20s, about the area during the 20s. What do you remember from that?
Oh, well, I always thought it was a very nice neighborhood.
What about Prohibition?
Oh, I lived through that, don't worry. Every other place had you never knew, they were manufacturing it. A lot of Italians around here, I imagined. I never had anything to do with them one way or the other, but I didn't know. I know that I went through that period, Prohibition, but I didn't let it bother me.
How about the Depression? How did that affect you?
Oh, God, don't talk about it. That was terrible. Terrible. My husband had to go on WPA. He was a timekeeper, and they were working. They used to get $12 or $15 a week or something, whatever it was. He was a timekeeper, and he got a couple of dollars more. But the men would be out waiting for the postman, or they'd go around to pay him there. We were awfully poor. It was terrible.
How many children did you have by then?
I guess I had them all.
By 29?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't go back over the road again for $1 million.
Yeah.
But we had bought this place in 1918. I told you we had no bathroom. The roof was gone. It was never taken care of. There was all chocolate paint all over it, and it was all chipped. All the nice white paint was inside. And we were scraping paint. My husband was handy. We had to, with help from some friends of ours, you know, trying to keep it together. Mm-hmm. And it was a terrible neighborhood. It was a lot of Italians around here. Somebody said to me, my God, you're going up to Little Italy? I'm glad I'm in Little Italy today. I mean, that we were able to keep our house during the Depression. We were in here 7 or 8 years, 1918, was it? Yeah. And then 28, 29, the Depression came. And we were 6 months in arrears in the house, ready to lose it almost. But President Roosevelt started the Homeowners Loan Association, that they got into all that. I've been through everything, so we transferred the mortgage to that, and they put a roof in the house and didn't put it all into one. Then, of course, things were beginning to get better, and you were able to pay a little higher mortgage. So it took me about 35 years to pay off the first small mortgage that we had. And
so, did your husband lose his job as a mechanic during the Depression, or?
Yeah, there wasn't any work.
There wasn't any work. So, when did he start back as a mechanic?
Well, he went to the Arsenal during the war.
Oh.
He was down at the Arsenal. In fact, my oldest son He's getting a pension from the Arsenal now. He was in there.
Where's the Arsenal?
Down Watertown. It's not there anymore. That's all done away with. But that was a busy place during the war, you know. Oh, it's so, there's so much to be thought about, I think, but why should I worry about it when I hear them get together and talk about, you know, it brings everything back. I lived through it, but I was a very, very busy woman at raising children, and I was sewing anything or making, I would make a blouse from tonight and they'd have it on in the morning, or a little pants. I sewed, and up until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, sewing, you know. And
tell me, what was like an average day on a Monday? What would you do all day Monday?
I was always busy.
What time did you get up in the morning?
I was always up at 6 or 7 o'clock. My husband used to go out when he worked in a place on Waltham there, Nichols machine shop in Waltham. And he'd have to leave the house at 6:30. And he'd work until 6 o'clock at night, and 3 nights a week he'd work overtime because the war was on, so they were very busy up there making pistons or whatever. I don't know a thing about mechanics, although I've lived with it. That didn't, I'm a housekeeper. But, and then work until 9 o'clock. Am I taking a lot of your time?
No, this is fine. I just wanted you were telling me about your day after your husband did your average day on a Monday, and
you mean that I do now?
In say 1929.
Well, I never went out to work, so I was up and I got breakfast, and I got my kids off to school, and I did my own washing, and I did my own, and I sewed, and I went out. I did everything. I kept busy, and I was never away from the house. But I couldn't with the crowd of kids I had to take care of all the time. But I saw them all grow up, and I married. I had one little baby girl. Number 2 was a girl, and number 8 was a girl. The rest were boys. So I had 7 boys and 2 girls. And one little fellow was killed right in front of the house here, a little 3½. He was the most adorable little thing I've ever seen. Just, everybody said I had lovely children. They were all nice. And it was one afternoon coming on fall when the crab apples, when you were making crab apple jelly, and I had a big pot of crab apples on cooking, and he and his little brother, they were shining the apples on there. They'd say, oh, Aussie. One was Austin and the other was Toots. What's my child's name? Bobby and Austin. But we always called him Toots. And he was rubbing the apple, and they said, oh, Aussie. He couldn't say Austin, he could say Aussie. Aussie, I get a nice wosy one. You know? I can see those 2 children at the time of their life. Then I had strained the apple juice, you know, the pulp was off. And the 2 of them were right in with me, shining apples, a nice wosy one. And I don't know how many apples he had eaten, crab apples. They were having a wonderful time anyway. And I took the pulp out to the garbage pail. And he came with me. They were in and out. And he said, oh, Mama, what are you throwing all that nice applesauce away for? See, he thought I was going to cook the apples, and I wanted the juice I had it. And that afternoon, my little Bobby was killed through the horse-drawn ice wagon about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My daughter was 15 years old. She was taking care of them all, just like as if somebody from heaven came and took him. He was gone. So,
what year was this?
I have to stop and think. Let me see, Bobby. My oldest was born in 28 and 19. What did I say?
1919?
I was
1918?
married in 20, no,
Married in 1912.
1912. Well, my first child was born in 13, 14, 17, 19, 21, 25, 22. I got them all on my fingertips now because I have. First one was born I was married in 1912. The first was born in 1913. 14, 17, 19, 22, 25, 27, 29, 31. Now I got to say.
So it was about 1932.
Yeah. He was just 3 years and 7 months. He was born in February. Mine is the 15th. Joe's was the 3rd. Bobby's was the 13th. Mine was the 15th. See, February. So, and July, February and July were two where I had. It comes back to me. It's just as if I missed reading something. It's in my mind, so I don't go wrong. I have to stop and think now. But that was in 19. Did I say 31? No, he was born in 31.
So it must have been 34.
22, 25, 27, 29, 31. Yeah, he was born in 31. And he was born at the Newton Hospital, the last one, because it was a short time after. He was 3.5 years old. He must have died in 34, 35.
Has the neighborhood changed much since then? Has the neighborhood changed much since then?
The neighborhood is, there were a lot of Italians in here, a lot of Irish in here when I came. I had an old lady over there, and she said, when she was Irish, and she said, when I first came from Ireland, that's where I landed. This house next door. She used to tell me about it. But I think the Italians have improved an awful lot. They're not the old-style Italians. The younger ones growing up are different. They're better educated than the others were. And I think they're very nice people. I like the Italian people.
Getting back to your family.
Yeah.
What was your philosophy on raising children?
What's my philosophy? That you can't waste any time on anything else but your home. And that's one thing I was blessed with. I never went out to work. My husband wouldn't hear of it. So if you had to starve to death, I'd have to stay home. And it's a full-time job. Today, when I see people going out and women working and their husbands working, that never should have been tolerated. Women, when they had children, they should have stayed at home and taken care of them. But this world is, I hate this part of this world that I'm going through. And you know, I was talking to a man this morning that came to check on a bar he's going to put in. And he said he was a farmer, and he said this world has him crazy. You know the way things are. And he said he was brought up on a farm. I said I was brought up on a farm too. Know all about it, but he was talking about the condition of things and why in those days women didn't go to work. They didn't. Two people didn't work. My husband wouldn't allow me to work. We could starve to death, but we couldn't go away from the house and not take care of your children. So that's a full-time job. And I did my own work. I never had to he was awfully good when the children were growing up.
Mm-hmm. He helped you?
Very helpful, yeah. He could wash the babies, and we had a little dog. He used to wash the dog, and we had set tubs in the kitchen there, the old soapstone ones, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd wash the dog. It was a Spitz. I don't see any anymore. They were nice white dogs, a lot of fuzzy hair. He'd tie a big red bow on the dogs, and he'd take the kids. And when I'd go out, I remember being down at Watertown Street one day, coming around by the bank. They were building that new bank in Watertown, and I had 5. I had 2 in a stroller, a little gig that I had, and 3 holding on, and they were very well behaved, very, very good. And I met this Dr. O'Donnell over there, and he said, stop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one is handsomer than the other, he said, keep up the good work. Oh, I said, I was the most, but God gave me very good health.
He sure did.
And I was young with the children. I always, their school days and their homework and the little thing, because I was used to children at home. See, I was teaching in the 1st grade over there. And I was so alert and so, I would go to bed tired, but I wouldn't go till it wouldn't well time for me to be tired, you know. And I never might choose, but I was never sick outside of having babies. I always had wonderful health, and I could manage them all. So they grew up,
What did you feed them?
I nursed them to begin with, and just plain food. And I made bread 3 times a week. Every time I had a baby, the doctor would come in. I had 7 born at home. He said, you left him enough bread anyway. I'd say, well, I'm going to wait in the morning, and I'll mix the bread in the morning and bake it in the afternoon. Then if I get sick, I knew I'd have enough bread late. And I was fortunate enough to have a very lovely woman that lived up the lake here. And she used to go out and help people like that. She'd come for 2 weeks, and she baked bread. She did everything. Just the people they were so wonderful. The days gone by, and my husband could cook awfully well. And when dinner came, and he'd have to cook or help them, I always got my dish upstairs with the best of everything I could wait it up.
When you were having the babies?
When I was in bed with the babies, yeah. But then when I got on my feet, he'd let down a little bit, but he was awfully good.
What was his specialty?
He could do anything. He was like myself. We were just, if God made us, he matched us. There was nothing that he couldn't do that I couldn't do, and we used to fight, don't worry. But he did become an alcoholic, which was tough. And during the Second World War, when all the boys, see, I had six in the service. I had 5, and 3 in the Pacific.
6 sons went into the service?
Yeah. I had 3 in the Pacific, 2 in Europe. And my brother was in the First World War, and he lived here with me when my children were small. He had a room upstairs, got his meals. That helped out, you know, having him around. And he gave my oldest one his little bicycle, a lovely little 3-wheel bicycle for his. He was crazy about it because he had to get special care, the preemie. He was here today, and he's really shot to pieces, and he's the oldest one. And he is the kindest, loveliest guy that ever lived. He's never given me one iota of trouble, and he didn't get married till he was 38. And his wife died last July, and he's got a nice home over in Berlin, Woburn. And he's lost. And then he gets this bump the other day, and he gave me a sweepstake ticket this morning. He likes to. He did win a little money in that.
The lottery?
Lottery, little while ago. And they bought this new home, and she was retired, and he had to retire when the arsenal closed. They went into Boston, then into that place in Boston where after the Watertown arsenal was closed, they closed that. And he was over at the Navy Yard. Charlestown. That's where he retired from. Mm-hmm. And she was retired. She was older than him, about 5 years. She was 5 years older than him. And they never had any children. Where you feel lost. They were such a loving couple and everything. But mine were all grown up, and I said, it must be a terrible thing to be married and not have any children. It's lonesome. But he said this morning, he was having a cup of tea with me, and he said, he don't want that money. It was $1,000 or something. His taxes are awfully high over woman and everything. He was going out to pay him today, I guess. But I said, he did tell my daughter, and he told him, but I wasn't talking to him to ask him anything about it. So he said he wanted on 2 numbers, whatever it was, and he said he was playing that number for some time. So he gave me a little, he bought a season ticket or something, 6 months. He bought it in January, February, whatever it was. So I have about 5 weeks that I can play the big money on. He gave me the ticket today, and he said, yeah. He gave me one for Christmas a year ago, and I watched that big money game every night.
And, did your sons survive the war?
They all came back. 6, yeah. 3 in the Pacific and 2 in Europe, and 1 in Korea, the younger one in Korea. So I went through all that. That was, it was terrible. It broke my husband down because he couldn't see bringing up a family and then having all of them to go in the service. But they willingly did. They came back.
Did your husband solve his drinking problem?
Yeah, after the boys went to the service.
Yeah.
And he was working at the arsenal. And he was getting all kinds of crazy ideas. He said, I won't be making guns anymore to shoot down my, you know how they talk about that. Just got discouraged, that's all. And he had a shock. And after he'd had the shock, he wasn't much good after that. They discovered when he went to the hospital, he had lost the sight one night. He got up one morning, he couldn't move the arm, it infected this side.
At work this happened?
He was taking time out of work, and he had to give up after he got this shock. He wasn't well, see.
Where did he get the shock?
He was in bed. Went to bed one evening and got up in the morning, and he was affected right on the side. So he was down at St. D's, and when he was doing machine work on a lathe, you know, he used to get a lot of those little slivers from the thing that would get in their eyes, and lots of times he'd have to go into the eye and ear infirmary to have it removed. Most times they'd take it out up there, but if he got too much, so that eye bothered him, and I didn't know it until he went to the hospital when he had the shock, and he was down in St. D's, and they said they had discovered he lost the sight of one eye. And he used to stagger, kind of, see, but he didn't know, and his eye looked all right, but it might have been something that was, you know, the shock would cause it anyway.
What do you mean by a shock? Did it happen overnight?
Well, he wasn't well. He used to take a walk and come in and out and eat his meals, and when he got up one morning, he was sick, but he wasn't. He was able to go to take a walk and do what he wanted. But this morning he came downstairs, and I noticed, I said, what's the matter with you? So I said, you can't go out. And he was used to taking a walk. He couldn't stay in. He'd have to go out to get air. But they discovered when the doctor brought him into the St. Louis rooms, and when he was down there, they discovered that he had lost the sight of one eye. And then he died of cancer of the larynx. That's what he died of. But he was a good patient. I took care of him at home. He was down at St. D's. And that was in November. He died in February, so he had a shot. He wasn't sick too long, but he hadn't worked for 2 years before that, see. And the boys had come home, and everything was straightening out, but he went away. So he was a young man. He was a handsome man. He was a good man. But we started out together, and I said I closed his eyes. So there was nobody else, and I'm a widow 21 years. I was the best man in the whole world. And I was at the hospital having my veins ligated. I had that operation. And when the doctor, the night before I was operated on, the doctor and a nurse came in, and he was tying rubber things around my knees here, and then I'd have to get out on the floor. And he said to me, you must have been quite a dancer in the day. He said, how do you account for no, he said, how long are you married? And I said, if I'm living in, well, the 27th and 23rd of October. I was in the 12th of October. I'm pretty good on my dates, just the same. I said, I went in the 12th, and that night they prepared me for the operation the next morning. But I told you they had all these, the nurse was, when she was writing things down, he tied this rubber thing, I'd have to get out and stand on the floor. He was just checking on the veins, I suppose, the way. And he said, how long have you been married? And I said, if I'm living in well, the 23rd of October, I'll be married. 27 years then, I think that was, because I was married 27. And he said, how do you account for being married to the same man for 27 years? I said, get the one you want, and you never want another one. He said, that's one for the books. I always wondered for it. All those things stay with me, because in spite of all my troubles, I always had all my faculties, you know. So that was the only operation. The children, I didn't have any trouble at all when they were born, except the preemie. The others, everything was all right. But that operation, my husband was awful mad with me for having it done. He didn't want me to have it done, but Dr. Gallagher said my veins, my legs were swollen with veins. The big one here in the shins, you know, and if you ever bumped it and they broke, you'd have an awful time if those veins broke. So they advised me after I was in the hospital to have ligated. And I came home and I said, I'm going to the hospital. What's wrong? Except for my veins. Thought I was crazy. And the doctor said, he said I'd have a nice pair of legs in 4 days. I'd be home in 4 days. I was up there 3 weeks almost. They cut you on both sides here. So I've had that, and I've had arthritis so bad that I couldn't even move after I came back from Ireland 10 years ago. And now, a year ago, I had a kidney removed. But there are 3 major things, and 9 children, so there must be a lot of good stuff with me, because I've weathered the game pretty well.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
tell me some more about did you do your own canning? Did you have your own garden?
We had a grapevine the whole length of the yard there, and I made about 40 or 50 glasses of jelly, grape jelly every week. And I used to make crab apple jelly. But I never believed in canning fruits, vegetables. That was too much for me. But I used to we always had a barrel of flour in the cellar. I still have the barrel downstairs for flour came in. And you'd buy half a barrel of flour, a smaller cake, for $4.50 in those days. And you'd put your coal in for the cellar, so we had a coal in the furnace, a coke, whichever one we wanted to use. We put that in the fall. You could get only 4 tons in there. Then when I've chopped wood, I've helped my husband. We used to paint at night after the kids went to bed, and spray paint. And we worked so hard here for them. And I said, now it's all fixed up, and I have nobody to enjoy it. But when my husband died 21 years ago, one of the children said to me, wouldn't you like to go into a nice apartment? I thought it was like giving me a slap in the face. He figured I'd never be able to, because they all get married young, you know, and went away from it. And I thought of it afterwards. I said, I didn't want to leave here, but it was hard to keep up. And when the boys went away and went to the service, they sent me some money while they were gone, you know, to kept me on the straight and narrow path that I could pay my bills. And then when my husband died, the house was paid for, and I'm sure I was thrown out into it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anybody, you know. But I was smart to keep my own home. I did go to work when I was best after my husband died. I was 71, he was 70. And a friend of mine came, she said, why don't you get a little job for yourself? And we stayed in the house all day. And the children were growing up, you know. I didn't have to worry about them anymore. And the war was taking them, and things were changing, and they grew up fast. They had to, you know. Mm-hmm. They had to register for the draft, and so I went out by the day doing housework. And I had a lot of jobs, and I made my money. I mean, I was very, it was my own doing that made me independent, because I couldn't save a nickel. But when the children were small, you know, you had all you could do to live. But when they came back from the service, and Kevin was, my daughter got married, and she was with me all the time while they were gone, because she was over 30 when she got married. And she was always wonderful. She was just like myself.
Where did you do your marketing?
My marketing? Well, when we first came here, Mr. Gibson was up at the lake there, and the house, I didn't have any telephone then, but sent a man to the house to take your order. And they had a housing team that used to deliver the order then, and he knew just what I wanted.
What about milk and ice? And was there another man? From him?
We had the old-fashioned ice box out in the backyard. There's part of it someplace. I don't think that's forgotten yet either. I tell you where it is. There's a table in the front hall there that had that little table in the front hall that had a marble top on it. Well, it was junk. Somebody threw it out. So my husband took one side of the old Frigidaire, the old ice box that we had, and that's what's the top of that table. See, he was handy, and good, and anything he did it well, you know. So we managed.
What about birthday celebrations or Christmas? How did your family?
We always had one.
You always had one?
We had I had a little baby girl, the little girl I had. I told you the second one was a girl. The number 8 was a girl. I had 4 nurses at the house that morning when that baby was born here. And Dr. Gallagher, the nurses were in a lot. I had a very hard word with her. I thought I was up on the top of the flat roof, way high, and I'm on the edge and I'm screaming. that was, I probably didn't show that. But I never got over the way I felt being up in this high building. And I had no trouble with the others. This was number 8. And the nurse once said, I don't talk to you about girls. No, you don't get the girls out to you. So they, she said, I bet you lots of chocolate. This is what was going on between them while I'm in labor. And it was a girl. He did give Mrs. Page a box of chocolates. She went out. But I was delighted. And my neighbors were delighted because I had so many boys. And my daughter was awfully cute. And she was delighted too. She was 15 years old. She's together with a baby sister. But after 5 days he told me, he said, this baby didn't come to stay. I never noticed it. I was upstairs and I was getting lots of care. The nurses were in and out every 3 or 4 hours one by go and see Miss Stokes. And I never realized what was going on, but he told me after 5 days he sat up and he said, he brought the baby over to see if I was alone. And he put it down and he said, I'd give anything in the world, he said, to save that baby. And she didn't come to stay. An awful blow. So the trouble was she was born with an open heart. They took her down to St. D's, they had some treatment done her then. She lived 14 days. Beautiful, beautiful baby. And that took an awful lot out of it. And then the little fellow was killed.
The next one?
He was 3 1/2. And that happened 2 o'clock. We left him right on the sidewalk under the house there. A horse-drawn ice wagon. The wagon was parked under the part there. And my daughter had just come in. She was out with them playing. But there was a gate there. The gate in the front. We had a wooden fence around it that time. And I saw the iceman come out of the house next door. And his truck was parked here. And he just jumped on the truck and he pulled up. And the woman across the street is yelling, my God, the baby, my God, the baby. He was on the sidewalk. He must have been near enough to the hub. You know how the hub of those wagons used to, horse-drawn ice wagon. He didn't have a mark on him, but he died of a fractured skull. The fright, when he probably was going by there innocently, playing out there, see. If the man had only gone around and seen that, you know, because the kids used to follow the ice cart all the time. It was just as if he was lifted and taken right away. He was gone. He was 3 1/2. And he was the golden hair and blue eyes and rosy cheeks. Rosy, he couldn't say rosy, he said rosy. And I thought I'd never live after that happened. Because he didn't have a scratch on him. Not a scratch. They took him up to the undertakers and they brought him home and he looked just as lovely as he ever looked. It happened at 2:30 in the afternoon and he was home in the evening about 7 o'clock. They brought him back. And I was pregnant with the last baby then. That happened in August, and the last one was born in the 1st of January. 2nd of January. So I had to go to the 27th of August, and he died. So the 2nd of January, waiting for the other baby. And the other baby, I never, Miss Wells, the school nurse, used to come along. And she'd say, do you ever put that on? She said, I brought him up in my arms. I had that feeling, if I could only have, I don't know, God ways. It's strange how accidents happen just the same. You know. Why? There is such a place as heaven. I look back on that, it was the most wonderful world in the world. I don't think I ever had a gloomy day. That's how I feel about living. We laughed all the time. We had fun. And we had nothing to do with, we had no money, but just as kids getting together, they all respected each other. There was no such thing as dating or going out or all this. I saw a girl on the little street there the other day, and she was saying goodbye to a fellow. There was two of them, two boys came along. And one was her boyfriend, and he stayed back for a minute to say something to her. And she has her arms around him, she's kissing him so much, right in the middle of the street. That, to me, if I had a good wet cloth and I could hit her right on the face with it, she would have it. But those things they do today are so crazy. But what else can they be on crazy? With television and all the distractions that they have. But it's a different way of living altogether. I don't like it. I just hate it.
Why don't you, what is it that you hate about it? You think it's wrong?
Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. And the trouble is, the people that are trying to write it, they can't do it. Those are ahead of, the bad ones are ahead of the good ones. They might go to church and they might do a lot, but they're not paying a bit of attention when they're informed and all. But we were brought up to think and to be serious about things. In spite of all, we had a lot of fun. But there were serious moments where you contemplate and you were made to remember, you know. The fundamentals were driven into us of right living, which they're not.
You raised your children differently than people are raising them today, you think?
I raised them the way I was raised myself. And that was, I knew the difference between right and wrong. If I didn't, I got spanked. You know, if you but we didn't have to be chastised in those days. Everybody did that. You didn't have all the distractions that you have today. You didn't have all.
What are the distractions of today?
Well, they have bicycles. They have all kinds of things to get them away from home and to get them. They can go any place they want. They're vying with each other as far as clothes are going. They're all well dressed. I never saw. We didn't have a tenth of the things that they have today that they have, and they're so conscious of themselves, but they're all satisfied with their own nasty ways of doing things, and they're not listening to anyone. But they haven't any training in the first place.
No training?
Their people must be, don't bring them up right. They don't start them right. You have to start children when they're quite young.
How do you start them right?
Well, you do the right thing yourself, and you tell them about it while you're doing it, and tell them there's a right way and a wrong way. And you're sure that they do their homework, and you're sure that they say their prayers, and you're sure that when they learn how to wash themselves, that they do. You've got to it takes all your time, but it's worth it. You don't have to do it for very long, but I trained 9 of them. They were all good, clean, healthy. The nurses over the school and the officer. When the priest sent me one day, he said, "Do you sew?" I said, "Every rag I can get, I can make anything with." Because they were always clean and good when they were going to school, but it pays. But today there's extravagance. The parents are awfully stupid today. One is vying with the other one, and if one has this, the other one wants the same thing. And we didn't feel that way about things. We were all about the same boat. And even if you weren't, we all respected each other, different families, different people. They didn't, but this is an element today, and one's trying to outdo the other as far as dress goes and everything. I can't understand that everything drives me crazy.
What do you think is lacking in today's society? What is lacking? Something must be missing.
There's a lot missing, but the schools in the first place. I think those public schools, I don't approve of them at all. I was lucky enough to go to a sister school and go there from the time I was 5 years old, 6 years old, until I was 18 in the same school. So we didn't have any, we weren't exposed to anything. And you had to be good. You had to do the right thing. But we didn't have to be punished. Nobody got into any trouble. We respected our teachers. They have no respect for anybody today.
You think that discipline is different?
They have no discipline.
How did you discipline your children?
When they needed to be, their father would talk to them, and I would talk to them. They knew they got punished when they didn't do what was right. There's lots of ways.
Privileges
And
taken
they make
away?
you angry above all things. And they take it out of you. By the time them to stop, and they find that it was upsetting you so much. You learn. You've got to be stern with children. You can love them, but you can be strict with them too. You know. I wouldn't want to bring up a child at this age and let him out. But although I have, I think, 16 grandchildren now. I have one's a nurse down St. Elizabeth. Another is she's teaching or training retarded children. I have a grandson who's building an aeroplane.
Oh.
So that follows down from my
The mechanic.
grandfather, the mechanic builder. He went to the Christian Brothers over in Norwood, and then he went to where did he go? My granddad's in Regis, and he went to
Where is it?
where? Where was it?
Where is the school?
It's not awful. Oh, I can't think of it now.
It'll come to you later.
He got a job. He's out of school about 3 years now. First year he was out. He went back to school for postgraduate course there too. He put in an extra year after his 4 years, and then he got this job. He worked for some of those big places up in near Wellesley there. Neither. Now he's down in Windsor Locks in Connecticut, and he's building a plane.
Trying to think of the name of the college that he went to? Was it in Massachusetts?
Yeah,
What city do you know?
the boys' school.
A boys' college?
Well, why can't I think of it?
Was it an engineering school?
Yeah.
So, was it in Worcester? Worcester College?
Worcester College.
Worcester Polytech?
Worcester Polytech.
Was. Yeah.
No, it's funny, I can't. I've talked too much.
Would you like to stop?
Huh?
Would you like to stop?
No, would you like a cup of tea?
Sure, I would.